So may I raise a point with the Chair? I did say I wanted the adjournment, just not then. So can I make another proposition? I know it'll probably lose, but for the adjournment now until the next sitting.
Yes, Deputy Taddy, is that seconded? Does anybody wish to speak on the proposition to adjourn until the 14th of February? Nobody does. Deputy Taddy? No, Deputy
sorry, I would dispute that.
Okay.
Sir, I think we should continue with this debate. I think we've achieved so much. And, sir, I really fear that if States members go home this evening without moving to the next vote, I really fear that they are putting a decision in jeopardy once again until goodness knows when. I have observed this assembly for 17 years and I have been a part of it since 2011. So I want nothing more than to reform the States Assembly, and I really think that the public deserves nothing more, and I think we should stay until we achieve something.
Does any other member wish to speak on the proposal to adjourn? Deputy Taddy, do you wish to?
Yeah, thank you, sir. I can fully see both sides of this argument, and I have sympathy with the Deputy of St Peter. Like her, I've been disappointed with the lack of progress. And, but as I've said earlier, it's important for us as a party to be able to consult with our caucus and with our party members on the way forward of this new proposal, and that's why I'm asking for this. So I maintain the proposition.
Those members who are in...
The appel
has been called for. Members are invited to return to their seats. The question is that the Assembly adjourn this debate until the 14th of February, and I ask the Greffier to open the voting. If almost all members have had the opportunity to cast their votes, if all members have had the opportunity to cast their votes, I ask the Greffier to close the voting. And the proposition has been rejected. 34 votes contra, 8 per, 1 abstention.
So can we have the 8, please, and we'll send out the 5 membership forms later on.
Those voting for: Deputies Martin, Southern, Kevin Lewis, Tadier, Masson, Mesic, Andrew Lewis, and the Deputy of St Mary.
We now return to the main debate. On the proposition of Deputy Andrew Lewis as amended, does anybody wish to speak on the proposition? In that case, I call on Deputy Andrew Lewis.
Thank you, sir. Where do I start, sir? Do we just go straight to the vote?
You don't need to speak, Deputy Lewis, if you don't.
No, it's all right. It's a moment that should not be missed, sir. But I will not speak for too long. So I'd first like to thank members for all their contribution. I think, by and large, it's been a good-natured debate. It's a debate that has to be had. I'm particularly grateful for PPC for the amount of work that they've done over the last few years, and the Greffier as well for their assistance in putting this proposition together. I'd also like to thank past members of the Commission as well, whose work was significant, however those described it today, it was significant. And I'd like to thank the public for their consultation, their engagement with that process. And I'm only sorry that the outcome of it is not quite what they had expected. But I do accept that this is progress. It's not the sort of progress that I would have liked. It's not what the public said they wanted. So we haven't observed it completely. However, it is a step forward. I'm not going to cry in my soup for not getting my proposition forward exactly as it was intended. It was amended, though, to take into account the feelings of the district that I now am in as a deputy, and the urban areas as well, of St Saviour and others. So there was a compromise there, and it's been compromised further. And my experience of compromise is, you compromise too much, you don't have the full jigsaw puzzle. So I think there's a lot of work to be done on this yet. We have enabling legislation that will come forward. This is an in-principle proposition. And there's opportunity then for members to speak again. And it will be a bit Groundhog Day, I think. But if we do move forward as a result of this, as the Deputy of St Peter has suggested, that can only be a good thing. And I do accept that. So, there's a quote that I've discovered yesterday because of what's been going on in Canada just recently. They've been having a big debate about proportional representation, and unfortunately they had a terrorist attack very recently too. And Justin Trudeau said, "We need to make sure that we have the best possible electoral system, one that values voices, one that creates good government, one that makes sure that people can be and feel involved in the political process." So I felt people did feel that they were involved in the political process during the consultation process that was had in 2013. They weren't fully listened to, but we have listened a bit today, and members should be commended for that. But tomorrow, and I want maybe members can guess who said this, a politician needs to have the ability to foretell what is going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and have the ability to afterwards explain why it didn't happen. Did you get that? Do I need to say it again? Winston Churchill. So I take no credit for what's before you today. This is the culmination of years of work of our predecessors, the Clothier panel, the Electoral Commission, PPC, as I mentioned, and the long-suffering greffiers, and not least the people who elect us. Members are always very considered in their decisions. However, today, I hope that in the few minutes that I have left, and I had hoped to say to persuade members to go for my proposition, those members now, I think, have made their decision. But like the Constable of St Martin, he listened to all the debate and he made his decision. He listened to the whole debate. So the days of inequality in our electoral system, I believe, are coming to an end. It began with the vote to have a general election, which continued with the removal of the 4 senators, and now we have what is before us today, an amended proposition of P133. So we did consult the public on a referendum. I believe they should be further consulted before we put this through. Whatever that looks like, it is different to what they said they wanted. We are very different to what we were in 1948. There was 57,000 people here then. We have a very different technology at our feet that we can use, which doesn't mean we have to have a big assembly, as others have said today. But I know that you are committed members of Parliament, that you're committed and you're dedicated and energised to serve our islanders well, democratically, fairly, with a listening ear, acting at all times in the best interest of sustainable, fit-for-purpose democracy. That's what today's debate's been about. And I think we have made some progress. It's an opportunity today to show the people of our island that we have listened, not to everything they said. We have acted, and that we trusted them. Not quite sure we've trusted them enough, but we've trusted them. And finally, in the last major debate, the Chief Minister said, "Let us not deceive ourselves that there's some mystical, magical, miracle reform option available to us. We have an option before us. We can go with that. What is before us today, improving our democracy, respecting our history, or we can do nothing. The choice is in the hands of the Assembly. Make history today. Move forward. Regain some respect from the people that put us here. Be brave. Be positive. Vote for change. The change that Ireland has been waiting for far too long." Sir, I commend the proposition and I ask for the appel. Thanks, sir.
Sir, may I ask, if possible, I'd like to take item D separately, but unusually, would it be possible to take that first? Because that will have a huge outcome on how I can vote.
I don't think D can be taken first, because then the Assembly would be asked to agree to request PPC to do something which it might then not actually agree to. So it would leave the final proposition as a complete nonsense. So I think, do you still wish to take D? Would you still wish to have D voted on separately, Constable?
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir.
Is that?
I'm happy to take it separately, sir, but I think I've made my position. Sorry, I think I've made my position clear earlier. But I'm happy to take all the items separately if people wish.
Well, I think there's no request to take all the items separately. I think there could be a vote on paragraphs A to C combined. I think that's the will. So the appel has been called for on paragraphs A to C. I think members are present. I ask the greffier to open the voting. All members have had the opportunity to cast their votes. I ask the greffier to close the voting. Paragraphs A to C have been adopted. 30 votes per, 30 in contra, with 1 abstention. Do you wish to have the appel on paragraph D? Yep. Appel has been called for on paragraph D. I ask the greffier to open the voting. All members have had the opportunity to cast their votes. I ask the greffier to close the voting. Paragraph D has been adopted. 27 votes per, 15 contra, 1 abstention. So, we now move on to the last item of business.
Sir, could I propose that it's deferred until the next state sitting, please? Thank you.